Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday to you. Glad to be here with you on Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor, alongside you. That IHOP hotline, well, it's open for you today, Chiefs fans. If you need to get something off your chest, K-State fans, if you need to get something off your chest at 869-1240, you can do it with us here on that IHOP hotline. And, well, IHOP hotline, IHOP's, they got all kinds of great stuff going right now. How about some loaded French toast? The great circle of cinnamon. That's something. Secret cookie butter or buried treasure. If you want to get over to IHOP and check that out, we're more than happy to send you over there to do that. We appreciate them. Joining us on that IHOP hotline will be Wyatt Thompson. That is coming for you just in the next segment here with us. So you can join Wyatt Thompson with us about 9:15 or so. We'll talk about K-State's I'll be honest, very disappointing loss. At least it is for me because it doesn't eliminate them officially, but it makes it really, really difficult. It was right there in front of them, and in its game, quite frankly, I think they should have won. Chiefs, Bills. Should the Chiefs have beaten the Bills in Buffalo? Probably debatable. They'll certainly need to in the postseason if that's what it comes down to, and it almost always does when those two teams play each other. So we'll get into that here off the top as well. Not all bad news. KU football goes to Provo and gets the big win over BYU. Sixth ranked, unbeaten BYU on the road. We know how difficult that's been for teams this year. Some might say BYU's luck has run out. But hey, KU gets it done. I'll and we'll discuss this later in the show. Is this Jalon Daniels' biggest win as a college quarterback? Because I think it might be. He's kind of struggled against that upper tier competition. He did not. He looked good. KU looks good. They get the win over BYU on the leg of Jalon Daniels on a pooch punt, which was the biggest play of the game. So we got that. It's all available for us here to discuss. Tommy, though, we'd be remiss. Good morning, by the way, if we didn't start off with Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And, I think that that's definitely the great place to start for sure, because I know we're going to get to Wyatt Thompson a little bit, later on in the program. But, the Chiefs in Buffalo, it panned out where we've seen this happen a lot during the regular season, where the Chiefs are just unable to get it done against the Bills.
Look, big picture means there's no concern or anything like that. The Chiefs lose to the Bills all the time in the regular season, and then they turn around and beat them in the postseason, right? That's been the MO. So you can quickly and easily look at that and know, no sign of panic, nothing there. But I think we all understand, and maybe this makes it easier, Tommy, to talk about the deficiency of this team, the glaring one, because they're not unbeaten, and we don't have that they're unbeaten though, because they have a glaring need. And it's, if they can't get better on the offensive line, 259 yards offense isn't going to cut it. I think if they had it all over to do again, they would have run the ball more. I don't know why they didn't run it a little more than they did. I thought they should have. I think when they get Isaiah Pacheco back, it'll be even more necessary for this to be a team that tries to at least run it, Tommy, 30 times a game. Because, you just can't drop back and throw the ball like that 33 times right now when Patrick Mahomes is under siege all the time.
Yeah, and I think that really with the offensive line, that's something that we've been talking about for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. Just that really, because we've got that glaring need, as you mentioned, they've just had a really hard time addressing that. And I know on the interior line, I know that that's something that from the running back perspective has been better, at least on the ends of the line at both left tackle and even right tackle, for that matter. But they weren't able to get the run game really established at that point. Ultimately, that cost them. They had to throw the ball more. Had to throw it quickly because Patrick Mahomes, again, didn't have much time in the pocket. It's a glaring need. It absolutely is.
And I don't know what they can do. So Kingsley Suamataia was a healthy scratch, basically, which means anything is better, which I don't mean to be so blunt about it. I'm not in any way giving up on him as the player. But I'll tell you this, it was the right decision. He was unusable. based on what we saw against Denver. Unusable. So now they're settled in. We'll see what they do with some depth. Another undrafted rookie in there, and Wanye Morris played, but not well. I mean, he's better than Kingsley Suamataia, but not by a long shot.
By
And
much.
so I know the whole he just looks lost, and they've got to have 2 or 3 guys over there helping him. And there was a point late in the game where you've got potentially 2-3 pass catchers that you can't utilize because they've got to get over there and help him. And Jawan Taylor, by the way, also isn't a superstar. And so you have this issue right now for the Chiefs. And the only thing I can think of to remedy it is to run the ball a ton. They had a quick strike passing offense yesterday. They've got Juju Smith-Schuster back. So now between Juju and Kelsey and Hopkins, and they even utilized Xavier Worthy this way, which was nice to see. Quick strike. Like that has to be what it is. And I think, Tommy, and it's okay. By the way, I would still pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, but I just and I've been trying to get this across because they're unbeaten. And what are you going to do? This is a team that has a big problem. Like I imagine this team right now playing, Buffalo again, quite frankly. Imagine them playing the Chargers again with the pass rush they can bring to the table. Imagine them playing Pittsburgh with the pass rush they can bring to the table. Like, imagine some of these real, contending teams that they could potentially match up with the postseason. And it's that's going to be tough because
I think it's, most concerning to me, the fact that the Bills were able to get a ton of pressure on Mahomes. In fact, they pressured him 37% of the time, but they hardly blitzed him. Like that's the recipe for success, I think, against Kansas City, because we know historically the way that Patrick Mahomes can pick up a blitz and, pick it apart. It's not unlike Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, at least in that regard, are cut from the same cloth, where they can absolutely kill you against the blitz. The Bills didn't have to blitz him, but they were still able to get a higher rate of pressure on him than the Chiefs were able to get on Josh Allen. And that was, I think, ultimately the deciding factor in the game. Josh Allen had quite a bit more time. He had quite a bit more freedom. He wasn't as rushed. It wasn't like the Chiefs were able to get much pass rush on him. So I think that it's kind of, we're kind of looking at two different things that are glaring, at least in my mind. Obviously, offensive line continues to be an issue, but then it's also just the lack of pass rush on the defensive side for Kansas City. That's been glaring as well. And they've, I think Spagnuolo felt like he had to bring blitz, and then Josh Allen can just carve you up that way. So there are two, in my mind, pretty glaring issues, and they're both kind of interconnected, because when you watch the way that Josh Allen performed against the lack of pass rush for Kansas City's defense, and then you see the way that Mahomes was hurried without the Bills even having to bring blitz, to me, it was like night and day difference between the two teams.
It is. And look, they went to Buffalo in a game I didn't think they were going to win anyway, and they lost because Josh Allen made a Superman play at the end of the game. Like, that's fine. Like, that's all okay. It means nothing, honestly. Well, I shouldn't say it means nothing. Buffalo's only a game behind the Chiefs in the, in the standings now, the game in hand. So it could mean something. But as far as can the Chiefs not be? No, look, they were in a game that they quite frankly didn't play very well. One of their worst defensive games of the year, far from their best offensive game from the year of the year. They almost had a chance to go tie the game on a game-winning drive. Josh Allen made a crazy good play like Josh Allen does and put it away. Good for Josh Allen, good for the Bills. So we're micromanaging here for sure, right? The Chiefs are still, they're not the odds. They're not the odds. No, what I'm saying, what I don't want, because sometimes the Chiefs kingdom can get a little defensive over the years here, and I get why, right? They don't give you a lot of reason to ever doubt them, but I do think you can call out the doubts. And right now there is a major, major, major problem on this team that doesn't translate well into the postseason. So what can they do between now and then to fix it? Well, they can't really do anything to the roster, or they already would have. So it's going to take some creativity. And they have a lot of time to figure this out. A lot of time to figure this out. I think you start by running the ball 25 to 30 times a game. That gets way easier with Isaiah Pacheco, right? Kareem Hunt's been consistent. He's not been explosive. Isaiah Pacheco will add explosion back to the run game. That will be very helpful. And I think you can utilize those two guys. And until a team turns you away, too many times, Tommy, yesterday, it's a first down run of 4 yards and then 2 passes. Too many times yesterday. That should be a first down run of 4 yards, a second down run of 4 yards, and maybe a third down run of 4 yards sometimes, or a 3rd and 2, right? So all of these things, and I would bet you money they do that too, because they just, there's nothing else they can do. It is so bad at left tackle. I don't know what else they can do.
Maybe you're right about that. Andy Reid is a Hall of Fame coach, but one of the things that has always frustrated the crap out of me with Andy Reid is that the guy's probably the most stubborn coach that I've ever seen. Like, he's going to do what he's going to do, and they should have honestly been running the ball 30 times a game weeks ago.
Well, they were.
Well, were they though?
Until the Denver game, yeah. If you go back and you look at the carries for Kareem Hunt, here's what Kareem Hunt, starting on October 7th, right? Here's his carry load: 27, 22, 21, 27. So, yeah, they were getting close, and then Carson Steele would have a couple and Patrick Mahomes would have a couple. But for some reason, in the last 2 games against Denver and Buffalo, it was 14 and 14. That's what I can't figure out. I don't know why they're doing that.
Did you watch the way that, the interior offensive line blocked for Kareem Hunt in the game yesterday and in the game against Denver? He wasn't getting much. And I think that's been a new development in the last couple of weeks where
I don't agree with that. Yesterday, he was over 4 yards a carry. Yeah.
There were a couple of runs that he looked really good on.
Yeah, he had his big run.
But there were also some runs where he was bottled up pretty quickly. And it really was like all Kareem Hunt, like his second effort to be able to do anything. That's a new development in my mind from the last few weeks to now, at least beginning with the Denver game, is that all of the attention has been on left tackle, rightfully so. Honestly, I don't think that the interior offensive line has played particularly well in the last couple of weeks. I don't think Jawan Taylor played well yesterday at all.
No,
and
he didn't.
He
never plays very well.
But to his credit, we hadn't heard his name called a whole lot over the course of the season, which is good. Like, that's better than what it had been a season ago. Like, I'd rather him, like, you never hear his name.
Correct.
His name last season.
So maybe he hasn't been offsides every play.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you right now, if left tackle wasn't so bad, we'd be talking about right tackle being pretty bad.
Sure.
Like that's a part of the problem.
The offensive line as a whole has been a big issue the last couple.
I'll give you this. Yesterday was certainly not the interior's best game, but that doesn't mean they can't. The game was close enough where they need to be running but they got, you can't have the opposition have 10 more minutes of possession the way the Chiefs are currently constructed.
Where I will agree with you on that is that they weren't able to sustain drives hardly at all. I mean, the Chiefs had, would they have 8 or 9 offensive possessions in the game? So when that's happening, and then of course, like, one of them is the very first drive of the game, and Mahomes throws an interception, the very first pass that he throws in the game, like, your margin of error gets that much slimmer when you're not possessing the ball. And that was something that Buffalo did a much better job at than Kansas City.
Wyatt Thompson's going to join us next, and we appreciate Wyatt hanging tight. I'll pose this, and we'll come back to the Chiefs in just in a couple of segments here. And this isn't anything, as you brought this up, and it made me just wonder. It's almost like, because Andy Reid has run the ball a lot the last 2 years. It's un-Andy Reid-like, right? The last 2 games, there has been a slight sense of desperation offensively, and I think it's because of the opposing defenses and what they were doing. But that almost makes me wonder if it's like, is this Chiefs offense, when they get into a sort of panic like that, going to defer to wacky and creative passing plays? Maybe so. But we'll pose that now. When we come back, we're going to get to some K-State football. That was a disappointing performance in Manhattan on Saturday. We'll get through it all with Wyatt Thompson. Any hope remaining of a playoff now? I'm sure there is some mathematical hope, but we'll try to look at realistic hope. Wyatt Thompson joins us when we return. It's Sports Daily. It's all Brockton Caster. Don't go away. It's a Monday. It's a reaction Monday, and we're just getting started. We'll be right back.
97.5.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere. Bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Mornings at KFH. Staff always enjoys a great cup of coffee from Prairie Fire Coffee. Appreciate them continuing to keep us all fueled up. All right, let's bring in Wyatt Thompson here, voice of the K-State Wildcats, for his visit with us, as he does every week. We always appreciate it. Wyatt, we'll start with, just dadgummit. Dad stinking gummit. That was a game K-State could have won. I'm not going to say they should have won it based on the way they played.
Right.
They should have won it based on what we know about this team. Now we've got back-to-back losses and, as much adversity as you could have imagined for this team going into the year.
Probably one of the most frustrating 3-day stretches that I've had in a while with K-State athletics, with the basketball loss to LSU and then the football game on Saturday. And I think the fans are, and rightfully so, truly down and disappointed, frustrated, whatever you want to say. It was not a good football performance in any way. And I think that's what really hurts. A lot of people, I've heard a lot of people say, and I get it, how can you play a game like that after a bye week? And they just didn't. They started slowly, made a mistake early, down 7-0. Now you're down 21-0 and 24-0, and it's just an uphill fight the whole way. You had trouble moving the ball and being consistent offensively. Just a really, really, frankly, a horrible game in special teams. Your defense struggled from time to time. Just not what you want this late in the year with so much on the line, honestly. Really disappointing.
It's interesting, Wyatt, because, going into the game, when we found out that Cam Scatabo was going to play for Arizona State, I thought, okay, well, he's going to obviously be the focal point of their offense. And of course, he's a threat on the field. But it was Sam Leavitt and what he did throwing the football, especially against the secondary of Kansas State. What do you attribute that to? Was that scouting from Arizona State, realizing that maybe they didn't need to lean quite as much on Scatabo and that Leavitt could find some success in throwing the football?
Well, to be honest with you, Bud, this is the reality of it, okay? And I think I may have mentioned this last week on your show, but maybe not. I do a lot of these, and I remember saying in a couple of them, please value their quarterback. This dude can play. He was a highly rated player. Didn't work out for him in his first stop. It was a great pickup for them at Arizona State. And I was talking to my counterpart before the game, and I said, so was Sims the guy in the preseason and he just beat him out? And he goes, no. He said he was going to be the guy all along. You could just see it and feel it. He's really a talented player. He's fit in well to their system. Just gives them another option. In this league, if you look at the teams towards the top, you've got guys that are legitimate dual threat guys. And I believe, I don't think I'm overstating this in any way if you look at what they've done. And I think it's 5 of 6 now that they've won. He's a major, major part why. The one game they've lost in that stretch, I don't think you'll be surprised when I tell you this, he didn't play at Cincinnati because of a rib injury. They are cooking right now. And they have 2 good coordinators and a dynamic young coach. I don't know if you heard Coach Kleiman say this after the game, and I know it's easy to be complimentary of the opposition when you get your butt kicked, but he said that guy's a budding star, and he probably is right. I thought they were better than K-State in every way Saturday night, right or wrong. They just were.
And yet K-State, had an outside chance,
yes,
oddly at the end of the game. So I don't even know what to make of that. You mentioned dual threat quarterbacks. Leavitt's a great young one. So is Avery Johnson, but it sure doesn't seem Wyatt like dual threat is a part of his game right now. It goes back to that injury, I know, at Colorado. But, man, that is really limited, I think, the explosiveness of this offense, not to have that threat of him taken off.
Well, I don't think these teams that K-State is playing respect the fact that he's going to run. I just don't. And I think they all understand that he's dinged up. And so you can kind of gang up on the line of scrimmage. On top of that, you have a game where there's no Jaden Jackson. Keegan Johnson tweaks a hamstring in pregame is what I'm now hearing, and he didn't play in the game. K-State probably, in all honesty, hasn't been good enough at the receiver position most of the year anyway. And now you're just short on everything. And then you can, I know there's a lot of fans that will talk about the play calling and, all of that too. It's probably somewhat of a factor also. So there's a lot on the table. I know there's a lot of speculation out there, about, what's going on and what have you. And that's what happens when you don't play well. And frankly, K-State hasn't played very well here of late, for sure.
I was really surprised. I think most everybody was, with the slow start for Kansas State. I mean, before you knew it, it was 24-0. And that was, obviously that is an extremely difficult hole to climb out of. Credit to Kansas State, because they pulled it, back within a respectable margin and made it a game and made it competitive when it looked like it was going to be difficult for them to do so. But is there anything that you can point to, or maybe it's a variety of things, Wyatt, that contribute in your mind to just this slow start out of the gate for Kansas State?
I don't know that I have any quality answers for you, Tommy, to be real honest. I've always been one of those kind of guys that I try to look at, even though everybody knows I'm K-State through and through. I try to look at games as fairly as possible, be fair to the opposition on the air and those types of things. And because of the early mistake with the tip ball and they score on a 3rd and 11 play, that probably the beneficiary, of extending that and not holding them to 3 because of a call that doesn't go your way. But that happens, right? You still have to overcome some of that stuff. But my point is this: once they scored and then got up 14-0, you could just sense it, that it's like, uh-oh, this isn't going well. And we've not started well in games that much either lately. So there's a lot on the table here, and it is probably, that's why it's so frustrating, because I think you guys will agree with this. K-State is a much better football team than they're playing right now. But I mean, just go down the list. You have the quarterback scenario. The offensive line is probably not playing anywhere in the hemisphere of what they did early in terms of just toughness, physicality, quality work. They've been a little bit deficient in the receiving core of things. They've been hurt in the pass game by almost everybody that's pretty good at throwing the ball. Am I being too harsh, or is that?
No.
And then the special teams too. I mean, all of those things are reality.
So here's what I wonder, because and there's still games to play, and there's still going to be a bowl game. There's all these things, and it's not out of the picture in the Big 12. All of those things, but I would wonder this: how much emphasis, because I'm putting a ton, and maybe I'm putting too much on what they look like against Cincinnati in a bounce back, because the reality is, as much expectation and all the things we put on this season, they're going to return a ton, most likely next year, right? Like they're going to be, as long as things don't unravel, they'll probably be the favorite to win the Big 12 next year, or at least one of the top 3 again. So do we need to be paying attention to the locker room, the attitude in a game, in a bounce back opportunity back at home against Cincinnati, to just sort of make everybody feel like, okay, everything's fine. Look, they're not going to win the national championship this year. Great. We're through that. But boy, they're going to be right back in the mix next year, as long as things don't unravel. And I just wonder, is there any fear of unraveling? Are we anywhere near that?
Another great question. I don't know if I necessarily have a great answer for you at this point, Jacob, because I think what I would tell you is I think Coach Kleiman still very much likes the leadership of this group and the makeup of the team. Do they have an easy stand-up Colin Klein kind of leader? No, probably not. As far as the expectations, I would tell you that they were exceptionally high, and maybe too high when the season began, because of Avery and Dylan and DJ and all of those guys and all of that. But I do remember saying to fans, in the springtime on the Cap Backer Tour and what have you, as excited as you are now, I think we're even going to be better in 2025. But they don't want to hear that, and I get it. But all of the really young guys on this team, and you could start naming them all, but just defensively, those guys we talked about early, like the Ryan Davises and the Jordan Allens and those types of guys, this year will help them going into next. But that doesn't necessarily help you today. I think a lot of those guys are starting to play better. Zayshawn Rich comes to mind. He wasn't even, in my mind at least, somebody that was going to be any kind of factor. And he's not been perfect, but you can see he's got really good skill, and they need cornerback help moving forward. So I do think I'm still excited about, what lies ahead with this group and, into next year and the year after that, just because of the way they've recruited, and they've continued to do well with that. But you're going through a tough stretch here, and there's a lot of sometimes when it's not going well, there are a lot of factors why, and I think that's exactly what we're talking about here, 100%.
I want to ask you, Wyatt, about Chris Kleiman, that press conference or the comments after the game.
Yeah.
He was extremely emotional. I mean, that's a game that, deflating, disappointing, all the different things that we've talked about. Clearly it's a tough time for the team. It seems like it's a tough time for him right now. That, to me, that was rough to watch. That was a rough time for me to watch him answer those questions. And I don't know if unraveling is the right word, because I think that they've got more resolve than that. But it definitely, I think, is going to be, tough to, you've got to kind of pull yourself up from the bootstraps and get that going. That was tough. That was tough for me to watch. I don't know what your reaction was to that.
Well, I can't necessarily say everything here, and I know you'll respect that, Tommy, but the last couple of weeks for Coach has been exceptionally difficult because of a family thing. It's been quite emotional for he and his family. I think he, in the presser the other night, he didn't get quite as emotional with us, but I think right after that he goes to the press conference and, probably going to get more questions there and what have you, and he did become emotional about it. But the emotion wasn't with the family issue as much as it was that he felt like he let those guys, meaning those veteran leadership guys, the Austin Moores, the Brendan Monts, those types of guys down just because of all the things that have happened. And maybe, he wasn't around every second like he could have been through the bye week and last week's game week. It's just what it is. And I get the emotion because I kind of know what's going on, but it's hard. You saw it in his face. He was hurting. And I think it shows you how much he cares, not only about Kansas State and Kansas State football, but even way more about those young guys.
And that makes sense. And look, all they can do is win the next two. And they'll get Farmageddon, which will always be emotional. They got a nice bounce back opportunity in prime time against Cincinnati, which, maybe that'll cure what ails them. We'll see. They're going to play a nice bowl game. And we'll see what happens in the rest of the Big 12. Big 12's wild right now. We'll talk about KU's big win against BYU a little later. And heck, Arizona State might be playing in a Big 12 championship game. So they're no slouches. They're pretty good.
Well, you said a lot there. And I think at the end of the day, Stan and I talked about this last week a couple of times. And then on the show, all you had to do was look at the KU BYU game going into that to tell you what this league is all about. BYU's 9-0. Ranked whatever they were, 6th in the CFP. KU was 3-6. What was the spread? 3.
Right. Yeah.
Seriously, 3. So everybody knows KU hasn't played to their standard, except here lately, right? Nobody saw Arizona State being 8-2. No one. But they had 60 new players. They had a quarterback that nobody knew anything about. Everybody talks about, well, there's been surprises. Well, there's reasons for all of those surprises, good, bad, and indifferent. Oklahoma State hasn't played anywhere near what everybody thought they were going to. Neither is Utah. But with that, you have the BYUs and the Arizona States that are pretty good stories. It's what makes it. I know it makes them for some frustration sometimes too for some of us, but that's what makes the league good. I always, I guess I'll get on my soapbox here a little bit. I really think it's. I wish I could change this, and I know I can't because perception is everything, but I think it's really unique that way, that you sit there and nobody talks about this league playing 9 times, 5 of those on the road for K-State as opposed to 4. There's not really anything fair about that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then you have the SEC where they were playing teams like Mercer and New Mexico State and those kind of teams. And the perception and what all of those talking heads talk about, matters when it comes to the selection process. Thanks for letting me vent and getting that off my chest. Because it is what it is.
You mentioned
I'm just telling you, it is what it is.
Yeah. You mentioned at the top, Wyatt, about how it's been a frustrating 3 or 4 day stretch. Even talking about the basketball team, LSU comes into Bramlage and they pretty roundly beat the Wildcats. And you know what? It was something that even early on, you could tell that LSU was kind of in the zone, like they were knocking down the shots and all of that. And again, it was really difficult for Kansas State to get back into the game after halftime. What were some big takeaways from you in that win from LSU?
I think the bottom line is this, and it hurts to say this, but I think it is so. LSU was ready for the fight, and they really, you could tell from the opening tap that it was important to them. And their frontline guys played well. A couple of other guys off the bench who hadn't done a lot really excelled. But K-State didn't play well in really any phase, in my opinion. And it raises certainly some points about now what, right? Because you've got the game tomorrow night against frankly a poor team in Mississippi Valley State, and then they'll leave the next day and head to the Virgin Islands for the Paradise Jam, and there'll be a couple of tests there for sure. I'm anxious to see, even though I won't be with them because of football, what that trip will be like and what this team is going to look like 4 games from now. Because it's pretty obvious they need to get some things kind of headed in the right direction.
I'll give you a glass half full take on that, Wyatt.
Yeah.
There was a 16-2 run.
Yep.
And what is that difference? 14 points. They lost the game by 11.
That's it.
You handle that run a little better, and they were better the rest of the game. Yeah. So,
and you also can't just get crushed on the boards like that either.
No. That's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing that is the most concerning. But I think in a game where they got crushed on the boards, one run was the difference in the game. So,
absolutely.
As somebody who's pretty optimistic on this group and how they all fit together, I'm not overly concerned about it yet.
Yeah. Again, maybe I'm a little more critical than I would be normally, just with the football loss and what have you, because it stings so much. But, I think the frustrating part for the fans was just what I was trying to convey. In that
because that's a hustle stat.
The fight was better for LSU.
Yep.
And when you're at home like that, it's going to happen occasionally, but it shouldn't happen very often. And I still like the makeup of this group. I think they're well coached. But they have to find another gear.
It's a hustle stat. Yeah, no, I get
absolutely it. True.
Yeah. And they may be, undersized if Coleman Hawkins isn't this dominant force. I guess that's, those are the things to watch. And we'll see if they play tomorrow night. You'll have them here with us on KFH. You'll have, I don't know how you guys are going to handle all this. You've got Cincinnati this weekend.
Yeah.
You'll hear all of it on KFH, but it is that time of year where things get wild.
Very much so, because the basketball team will play tomorrow night and then leave Wednesday, play Friday in the Virgin Islands, play a couple of times over the weekend and then the next week, and then be back for Thanksgiving. And next week at this time, we'll be talking about Friday after Thanksgiving, flying to Des Moines and playing Iowa State. So this is kind of the back end of the crossover season, or almost the back end. Still a little ways to go yet, but it does get a little wild. I've got Don Free coming over with some extra gear just so I can do my radio show on Wednesday night with Coach Kleiman, because my gear will go with the basketball team to the Virgin Islands. So a lot of things to make sure. You can't show up and do a radio show without any gear.
That's right. You guys will have it covered, and we'll hear it all right here on KFH. Wyatt, we appreciate it. It's going to be a better week this week.
I'm totally with you. And you know what? Sun does come up occasionally, although it's raining like crazy here now.
Down here, too.
It'll be okay. And we just got to keep grinding.
There you go. Wyatt Thompson, voice of the K-State Wildcats. Always appreciate those visits. Wyatt, have good calls this week, and tell the crew travel safe.
You guys are great. Appreciate you. Thanks so much.
There goes Wyatt Thompson. If you missed any of it, go back and listen to it on the Odyssey app, as you always can. There's a lot to cover, and I love it. My favorite things about Wyatt Thompson, he doesn't pull punches, and they didn't need any punches pulled. It's a bad week in Manhattan. Bad week. Loss at home for the basketball team. Really disappointing loss for the football team. But we can discuss further. The IHOP hotline back open for you at 869-1240. When we come back, We've got more with the Chiefs, of course. We got to get to KU's win in Provo. That's where we'll touch next. Next hour, we're going to talk a lot about the Chiefs, the NFL as a whole, Sunday Night Football. I think meaningful when we talk about the AFC playoff picture. The Chargers get it done. The Chargers playing much better. Justin Herbert looks like Justin Herbert again. Jim Harbaugh's unlocked that. A lot of great stuff to get to today. Your calls, comments, always welcome. Glad to have you here with us. We'll be right back. It's Albrecht and Caster on Sports Daily.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere. Bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Go to pepinsuter.com, PEPINSUTER, and check out all the great work that they're doing on homes around the area. All kinds of projects inside, outside. They do a fantastic job. They did our kitchen remodel, a major project we had this summer. They made it easy on us, took good care of us, made it usable for us while they worked. And, of course, the quality was fantastic. Best part, Tommy, their bid was way more competitive than the competition on the bids that we took. So go to Pep and Suter Remodeling. Just pepinsuter.com. It's Pep and Suter Remodeling, or give them a call, 316-573-6822. If you got a project to do at the home, a big one, a small one, whatever it is, give them a call, Pep and Suter Remodeling. We appreciate their support of the program. Tommy, hold me to this tomorrow. You just sent me something. The Big 12 media rights kind of in the news this morning. TNT getting involved, taking some ESPN games. That will be, I think, great news for the conference. It adds another player to the game. We know that Turner and TNT love basketball. I think big picture, you think about a separate basketball deal for the Big 12. Hold me to that tomorrow. We won't have time today, but hold me to that. We'll get into that tomorrow. Tommy, real quick, KU's win against BYU. I am so proud of them for continuing to play strong. I would have, I thought they were going to win that game. I told you that. I picked them. If you'd have told me it was 17-13, I probably would have had a little more concern. And it did come on a fluky play, but they took advantage, and they did something they haven't really done all year. And that's close a team out late, and they made the big plays late to get it done.
Yeah, it was different than what we've seen from the Jayhawks this entire season. I had a feeling that if the Jayhawks were going to win the game, they were going to have to muddy the water and really be able to hold to that for an entire 4 quarters. And they were basically able to do that. Because I feel like BYU does have that explosive component. They can put points up very, very quickly, and Kansas can as well. I just didn't think that really the Jayhawks would want to get into a track meet with the Cougars. And if they could muddy the game up, they would have a good shot at winning the game. And, to their credit, they did that.
Did. But look, they were outgained through the air, on the ground. They only had 240 yards of offense. Jalen Daniels didn't have any touchdowns throwing. Devin Neal was, he scored the touchdowns, but he wasn't that effective in the game. They found a way to win the game, right? Like that's, and everything else, who cares? But what's so great about it is they've been on the other side of that so many dang times this year that they finally got on the right side when it just happened to be against that team that was unbeaten and that environment. That's great. We were talking to Wyatt Thompson about, this sucks this year, but next year's really the year for K-State, right? That's kind of the year. All these young players that are having to play this year are going to be now upperclassmen. It does stink that it's the opposite for KU. This is the year for KU. So I hope they finish strong. I hope they get to a bowl game. I hope they, wreck the world and keep playing this way. I think they will. I still don't know if I think they'll beat Colorado, but I think they'll play them well. And that's good because they have reinvigorated watching them, I think, again this year, Tommy. They're watchable again, and you're not going to throw your TV or throw your remote through the window.
Well, the best offensive drive for Kansas was the very first one of the entire game. I mean, they pushed the ball down the field, got into the end zone, and okay, well, this is something that they can continue. And we've seen Kansas do this basically every game. They get off to a really good start, and then they have a hard time closing out. And then really both defenses settled in. I thought that the Kansas defense did a really good job on Jake Retzlaff.
Good job.
I thought they contained him really, really well. And you know what? Even though it wasn't just this explosive offensive juggernaut from the Jayhawks, I thought Luke Grimm played a great game for the Jayhawks.
He's going to be a good pro. He's
100%.
so good.
He's really, really good. And you know, Jalen Daniels needed him. And the Jayhawks did enough to where they were able to get the win, but it was a different formula than what we've seen basically this entire season, where it was like hanging on for dear life. They made the big plays. They completed them, and then they forced BYU to basically not do what they wanted to do. And it worked out well for them.
For all the things that have gone wrong for them this year, they were owed that one by the fate. They were owed that kind of pooch kick off the helmet, recover a ball. I mean, there was so much like karma built up in that play. It was once that play happens, you're like, they're winning this game. Like
by the way, I mean, I'm super happy, for the Jayhawks to win the game. The Big 12 is a mess. The Big 12 is absolutely a mess. And I think it's going to hurt them come playoff time.
They're only getting one team in. They're only getting one team in. But I think Colorado is real good, and I think Arizona State's probably very good. You take that Cincinnati game when they didn't have their quarterback out, we'd be having an entirely different conversation. I don't know how good I think BYU actually is because they've been very fortunate this year. But we all thought they were only getting one team in anyway. When the season started, that's what's going to happen. They're only going to get one team in. Which team is it? I have no idea. I think Colorado. KU might beat them. This is going to be fun to watch. We'll get more into it. When we come back, though, we'll go back to the Chiefs. What do we need to do here, Chiefs fans? Not panic? Don't care? Nothing, no problem? No look here? Nothing to see? Or do we need to try and solve some things? We'll look around the NFL as well. It's a big money-making Sunday. I had a good Sunday. I hope everybody else did. There was a lot to make money with if you're into player props and those kinds of things. So hopefully you did. We'll talk about it all when we come back. It's Albrecht and Caster at Sports Daily. We'll give away some HTO in hour number 2 as well. Stick with us. Thanks to Max Power, by the way, for stepping in to produce today. We'll be right back.
In Odyssey Sports Station.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere. Bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrocht and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Jacob Albrocht, Tommy Caster, Max Power in for Jad today producing. Glad to have you with us. Crestview Country Club, always a big sponsor of the show. Want to tell you that they've got all kinds of stuff coming for the holidays. They've got their Thanksgiving brunch, a New Year's Eve event. You can take home Thanksgiving meals. You've got youth activities, and you can do it all on a membership that, well, is, less money if you don't play golf, but want all the other stuff. It's a social membership. They have them. Give them a call. Ask them about it. Tell them we sent you over here from Sports Daily. Just saw them this weekend, and they said they have had people reach out to them because of this show. So we always appreciate that. Always appreciate these partnerships with these companies around town. So thanks to Crestview for supporting the program. In this hour, we'll get probably mostly into the NFL here. Try to dig through what we saw from the Chiefs, everything else we saw across the landscape in the NFL. Of course, it's Super Bowl or bust this year and most years now for the Chiefs. That doesn't change despite a loss to Buffalo. In regular circumstances, a loss to Buffalo in the regular season doesn't mean anything because they lose to Buffalo in the regular season all the time and still win the Super Bowl, right? It's not that big a deal. But I do think we have to look at the things that are a big deal. Look, I'm not glad the Chiefs lost to Buffalo, Tommy. I'm not. What I am glad, though, is we can remove the crutch of, but they're undefeated. Like, okay, they were. Right. But there are some things that this team's going to need to, button up before the postseason begins. And look, we talked about it right off the top of the show. There's the obvious glaring, I don't know how they're going to fix it issue of the left tackle being really bad and the right tackle not being that good and Patrick Mahomes being under siege almost every play and having to change the offense based on the routes you can run, based on who has to help protect, has to do all of these things. And that is a concern for the postseason. I'm far more concerned about that than I am the defense, giving up the most points it's given up in a game and all that stuff. I'm still very confident in the defense, quite frankly. But there's plenty to digest in a loss like that the Chiefs can take and try to, get corrected as they move forward.
Well, and I think that, we spent quite a bit of time in the first hour talking about the most glaring issues, and one that we didn't talk about that I think is fair. And you and I were actually texting about this last night. Patrick Mahomes didn't have a very good game.
Right.
And
he's had lots of not very good games.
He's had lots of not very good games over the course of the year. And it goes back to what you had said a couple of minutes ago about how the crutch of, they're undefeated, so it doesn't really matter. Well, no, it does. It does matter. It does matter that Mahomes, probably by his own standards, is not playing the way that he would like to be playing.
Sure.
His very first pass attempt of the game, he threw an interception, and that interception is 100% on him because he shouldn't have thrown that ball. And that's something that we've seen Mahomes do over the course of his entire career is, he doesn't want to, throw it away. He doesn't want to take a sack. He wants to be Superman. He wants to do these miraculous things. And by and large, over his career, he's done that more than any other quarterback ever has. But I think that we're at a point now, at least in this season, where those Superman effort, like miraculous, crazy, how did he do that type moments are not happening the way that we've been accustomed to. And what's happening is he's turning the ball over. He turned the ball over on the very first pass attempt of the entire game yesterday and put the ball in Buffalo's hands. And the Chiefs' drive to start the game ended almost as quickly as it began. And so those are things that are not being discussed at the level of all the issues with the offensive line and lack of pass rush and all these other things that are going on. I think it's okay to say Patrick Mahomes is not playing very well. And you and I were going back and forth last night about his MVP odds. He's still the fourth best odds to win the MVP in the NFL. I think due in large part to the fact that he is Patrick Mahomes. Bottom line, even though his TD to interception ratio is not very good this year, he gets the benefit of the doubt. And I don't think he always should. And it's okay, I think, to be critical of him. He's not playing very well.
You don't have to convince me of this. I've said this for years. Like, if we're just like pointing out what we see and look at in the NFL, yeah, it's okay. But people get very defensive about Patrick Mahomes, the best player in football, and the
100% he is.
And the reason he is still the fourth odds-on favorite to win an MVP is because he's the best player in football, and because there's still 7 games to play. He's the fourth best, Tommy, but he's 12-1. He's never that. He's never 12-1. Right? It's because of what Goff's doing and what Jackson's doing, and now Allen. And I told you 6 weeks ago that Josh Allen, based on the odds at that time, was the bet to make because Buffalo's really good. And, if they're just end up being good, like Josh Allen's playing out of his mind. I know Lamar Jackson put up all the numbers. Baltimore's coming back down to earth. Baltimore is a very flawed team. Buffalo's a lot better than Baltimore. I'm not saying that Baltimore can't win a Super Bowl. They can. But I think Buffalo's a far more complete team than Baltimore is. But Patrick Mahomes is the fourth odds-on favorite because they still have 7 games to play. He can, you just have to leave room. Just like an opposite here, it's like this. Just like the defense has to leave in the back of their head, you can't give Patrick Mahomes the ball at the end of the game. The odds makers have to leave in the back of their heads. You can't give Patrick Mahomes the ball at the end of the game. Like, we can't leave open this possibility and make him 40-1, even though his numbers are not there. Because what if the Chiefs get on this run? Now all his weapons are finally coming back, and he goes on a 7-game tear, pads his stats. The Chiefs are the number 1 seed in the AFC. You know what I mean? Like, all those things are still possible with Patrick Mahomes. I think most of his struggles this year, honestly, are due to the offensive line play. Patrick Mahomes is we all know he's Houdini in the pocket, right? That's a part of his game. It's a part of what makes him great. But this is next level bad. Like, you can't help but wonder if that blind side is protected every single time you drop back. And I think one of the things that makes the really great quarterbacks great is that they can operate despite that. I think one of the things that makes not great quarterbacks really struggle is when they can't handle that. We see this happen to young players all the time. But if you go look at like the great quarterbacks over the years, Mahomes, like the ability to just sit in there and take it, even though you know it's not going to be good, he does that. Josh Allen does that. God, we watched Joe Burrow last night. Joe Burrow, and like it's Andrew Luck bad for Joe Burrow, the way the poundings he takes in a game, yet they still make the throws. So I think the offensive line is the biggest reason we've seen Mahomes struggle a little bit, because they're not giving him a chance, quite frankly, and he does have to force it more than he probably would like to. And the other thing I think for Mahomes, he also knows who his defense is, and he knows he can afford to take the risks. Now, it doesn't mean they're good plays or anything like that, but I think he's a smart enough player to know he can get bailed out by his defense a lot. And based on the offense right now, he might need to take a few more risks. He has a defense that can bail him out. It's a totally different Mahomes. I don't think it makes him any less great. I think it makes him different. And the other thing is they don't care. Like, he doesn't care. Nobody cares. Is anybody on the planet right now doubting whether Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football? I doubt it. Right? If they're being honest with themselves. Is he playing the best right now? Absolutely not. Is he the best player? Sure he is. He doesn't care. It's Super Bowl or bust. So, yeah, he's not playing well. Not by his own standard. He's playing, average, I would say. Middle of the
and I think the thing that concerns me the most, we can talk about the lack of time that Mahomes has in the pocket. We can talk about how the pocket just breaks down entirely. He's under siege. He has to roll out. He has to try to do all of these wild and crazy things. Sometimes you would wish that he would just throw the ball away or whatever. There were a couple of risky passes that he made that didn't end up intercepted, but, were very, very dangerous passes that he made because he was under pressure. But for me, more than anything else, every single time that he drops back, I'm thinking to myself, is this the play that he gets hurt? Is this the play that he gets injured from an edge rusher coming off of the blind side and having Wanya Morris not be able to stop it? I think about that all the time. It was even on one of the touchdown passes that Mahomes had last night where he got the ball out very quickly, and it ended up, I think it was one of the TDs, what would have been to Noah Gray. And he got the ball out extremely quickly, and it was great, and it resulted in a touchdown. I don't know if you watched the replay. Wanya Morris completely whiffed. And like, it was, had Mahomes not gotten it out in that second, he would have been lit up, and it wouldn't have been a touchdown, and Mahomes might have gotten hurt. And I thought to myself, man, the Bills just need to throw everything in the kitchen sink at getting to him on that side, because it doesn't matter what the Chiefs are doing. They can't stop it. And then you look at, okay, well, who are some of the edge rushers that are coming up in, the remaining 7 games of the regular season that the Chiefs are going to go up against? And I think of names like TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith and Khalil Mack. If he can, I know he didn't play last night, but if he's healthy when the Chiefs play the Chargers again, like, there are still really high level edge rushers that are going to be after. I mean, you don't think that these defensive coordinators absolutely know that that's a liability for the Chiefs. And I fear so largely that Mahomes is going to get hurt, and the Chiefs have had just either an inability or an unwillingness or a combination of both to do anything to try to address that.
Well, I think, I don't want to say they haven't tried, because they made the Suamataia move. That's trying. Making him a healthy scratch is trying something. We'll see. They need more time now to work in these other players and see if they can do it. But I think that's pretty significant. Your second round pick that you like to basically say, not going to happen. We need you to just go away for a little bit.
Right.
Like, that is significant. And I think a positive sign that they're not just going to, ignore it. But I think
and I've talked about this before, I think that they have bungled his development. I think that they've mismanaged left tackle in general. And look,
Well, sure
it's
they
all
have. Yeah.
it's all, hindsight is 2020. You can't go back and change the past. All you can do is, figure out a way to
Correct.
put a Band-Aid on it to make it better moving forward. But it's disappointing to me. I mean, I feel like, and I don't remember what your take on it was before the season, but I distinctly remember before the season saying they need to go and sign somebody. Like, they need to do something to add at least a veteran depth piece at left tackle, and they didn't do it. They felt comfortable, between Morrison and Sua Mataia. I used the reference on social media yesterday that those two competing against each other to quote unquote win the starting spot for left tackle is like two one-legged men competing in a hopscotch contest. Like, nobody really wins that, right? And that's, unfortunately, that was the quote unquote competition between those two guys when neither one of them should be starting.
I don't know that I would have anticipated them both struggling as bad as they both have. I'm never opposed to depth on the offensive line. I'm curious to see if the depth they do have can help, because it's hard to imagine it getting worse. So we'll see. But I'm telling you right now, the best thing that can happen for the Chiefs is Pacheco to come back and for them to run the ball 30 to 35 times a game, to tell the defense going in, here's what we're going to do. Like, we're gonna come in and we're gonna play Pittsburgh Steelers football. That's what we're gonna do, right? And Pittsburgh's obviously opened up now a little bit with Russ, but over the years, how does Pittsburgh stay? We're gonna like don't even. We need you guys to shut them down, because we're gonna run the ball 30 or 35 times. We have these two running backs who are very capable of doing that. We're bringing back the running back who adds the explosion that they've lacked back into their run game, right? Kareem Hunt has been such a good thing for this team, but he is allergic to an explosive run. That run yesterday was the first time he'd done that or anything close to it since he's been there. So adding Pacheco back helps that greatly. They're just going to keep getting offensive weapons back. They may get Hollywood Brown back. However, if they don't fix the offensive line, it doesn't matter. So run the ball a ton and lean into the defense. Basically win the way you won last year for a while, until the very end of the year when Rashee Rice exploded. Just win games that way, because they can. They still have, if we go through, Tommy, and look at all the great teams right now in the AFC, right? You just look at the AFC and tell me how many of those defenses right now would you take of the contenders ahead of Kansas City? I would take Pittsburgh ahead of them at the moment, just because of the pass rush. I would, but I don't think Buffalo is definitively better. I think they're about the same. And yesterday, I know happened and all these things, but Baltimore's not better. Denver's probably, on par. The Chargers are probably on par, but Kansas City has an opportunity to be as good or better than any of them. Yeah, they are. They are, but they also allowed Cincinnati to come back in that game when they had no business doing that, and let Cincinnati come back 20 almost. Cincinnati they scored all those points late, and so that's a problem. The Chiefs defense. Let me put it this way: Chiefs defense isn't doing that, right? They're not giving up 20 straight points late like that. But that's the strength of the team. So just lean into it. Take the offensive line away. I don't care if your tackles can block. Run it up the middle. Make teams beat you there. Make somebody come in and force you to throw the ball because you're trailing by a large margin. And then, okay, that's fine. I just don't see that happening. Buffalo couldn't do it yesterday. That game was way too close for them to only have run the ball 15, 16 times.
Look, and I get the fact that Buffalo, they've built themselves a dynamic passing game, and it's something that I did not anticipate going into this season. I honestly didn't. I thought that this was, and I don't even want to call it a rebuild, because that sounds negative. It was more like a reset offensively, I think,
everybody
for
would say
the passing game for Buffalo. I certainly didn't anticipate that it would just take this little time for the rapport to be built with guys like Khalil Shakir and Amari Cooper, and even Curtis Samuel had a big game last night.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper has barely played.
Yeah,
right? That was only his second game.
Cooper had a fantastic catch there early in the game. So I understand that it's a dynamic passing game. They missed Jalen Watson. They absolutely do in the secondary.
Sure.
I thought that there were a number of plays, and I know Chamari Connor had an interception that was great in the end zone. He didn't have great coverage in a lot of spots in the game. Najee Johnson, I think, struggled at times. Of course, they've got McDuffie, and McDuffie is one of the best to do it in the game right now, so that helps out a lot. There were some poor tackling in the game yesterday. I mean, I know it's a one game that the defense didn't have it compared to everything else that we've seen throughout the entire season for them. The body of work is large, and I think by and large the defense does deserve the benefit of the doubt. But that was a little concerning to me. But I think more than anything else defensively, they have no pass rush. And that's something that's actually more concerning, because that's gone basically the entire season. The Chiefs rank near the bottom of the NFL when it comes to getting to the quarterback. They've not had it this year at all. I know they go and they bring in Joshua Uche to try to help in that scenario. And even I know Andy Reid said Felix Anudike-Uzomah had an injury that he played through yesterday, but they're not able to get to the quarterback at the clip that we need them to. And so, you want them to lean into their defense and put it on their backs and everything. But if they can't get to the quarterback, then that's a huge part of a defense that is basically just out the window, and you're banking on everything else to go right.
I'm going to give Buffalo a ton of credit, there as much as anything else. There isn't really another game defensively like where I'm just like, I'm very concerned. They'll play Carolina and then the Raiders, and then they'll get the Chargers in Cleveland and Houston and Pittsburgh and Denver. And then they'll have good offenses the rest of the way. So we're going to know the answers to a lot of these questions when the time comes. The beautiful thing about the season for the Chiefs is they have built out, this massive, they're already to 9 wins. They play Carolina and the Raiders in the next 2. I don't think they'll win those 2. So now you're already at 11 wins, right? They're safe. They're secure. They have the ability to work through some of these things. Are they out of the woods with the Chargers in the AFC West? No, they're not. But they play them. Are they out of the woods for the number 1 overall seed? Absolutely not. Not even close to that. But honestly, I don't even care. Much like last year, I don't care where they play their postseason games, because the style that they need to play with translates wherever you go, right? So that doesn't even mean that much. I would far rather them have an answer, on the bookends and not be home field, right? And try and solve some of those things than play every game at home, but still have no idea what's going to happen at left tackle. Let's look around the NFL. Let's take a break. We'll come back because there was a lot that happened yesterday. I think that means a lot for the Chiefs. So let's take a look at that, including Sunday Night Football, including what the Steelers did against the Ravens. There's a lot, including what the Lions did. My goodness, yesterday. The 49ers fall late. Do we just sort of push them to the side, or do we still need to pay attention? There's a lot there. We're going to start that conversation when we come back. On the way out, let's give away a little HTO. You can enter here, free iced tea, sweet or unsweet, and a free coffee, iced or hot. All kinds of good stuff. And I'll tell you, while you're there, get those Thanksgiving gallon pre-orders in. You've got about another week to do that. And while you pre-order, you can buy 3 gallons, get 1 free. So take your free tea, your free coffee in there, order those Thanksgiving gallons. All you got to do to win right now is text the keyword T to the short code 20357, TEA, 20357. You can enter once per day. Message and data rates apply. These are good for any of the 3 locations in the Wichita Metro. Good luck. We're coming back. More NFL talk on Sports Daily next.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere. Bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the Jungle weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back, everybody. On your way into work, want to keep listening to Sports Daily even after you park the car with the Odyssey app and Odyssey.com. You can just download the app, visit Odyssey.com, search for KFH. Download that app today to get started. IHOP Hotline is back open for you. You can celebrate Well, you can celebrate that they are the official breakfast partner, Tommy, of Xbox. Exclusive merchandise, games, and reward officers for IHOP loyalty members. So check that out. 869-1240. It is open for you the rest of the way. Let's look around the NFL, Tommy. It's Sunday Night Football. Got us talking about this certainly last night. AFC, the playoff picture is honestly mostly sorted out. You've essentially got one spot that will be open. You've got that 7 seed. Denver right now with 5 losses is the leader there. You've got Indianapolis and Miami, 1 loss behind Denver. You've got Cincinnati now after last night, 2 losses behind Denver. And then you go down to the Jets, New England. I don't think anybody's considering those teams, and maybe not even Cincinnati. But even if you said Indianapolis, Miami, and then a slight asterisk for Cincinnati and Denver, that race is going to be pretty interesting to watch, I think, down the stretch. All of those, especially with Anthony Richardson playing the way he did yesterday, become pretty interesting games. But when we look at the rest of the AFC, I mean, the Chargers, I think you have to take seriously, absolutely now, with that pass rush and the way Herbert and that pass game looks. Chargers look great.
Yeah, they do.
Buffalo, obviously a contender. We'll see about Houston as they get healthier. I need to see them get healthier. But when you look at the other ones, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, obviously, with Lamar Jackson is always going to be a threat. I think Pittsburgh, I know it's Russell Wilson. Man, I think Pittsburgh is way for real. Like way, 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 way for real. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. And they play amazing defense. I don't know why there would be anybody still sleeping on Pittsburgh. But that's Russell Wilson has won Super Bowls. Super Bowl, and been to Super Bowls. So you put him in with what they already had cooking, and I'm in on them. So, look, I think this is – and then, of course, on the other side, I mean, in the NFC, are you afraid of anybody but Detroit? Because I'm not sure that I am.
Not really. I mean, maybe
Philadelphia.
Maybe Philadelphia. That'd be the other team, probably. That's about it. I mean, honestly, I think the Vikings, when they can get rolling, that they're probably the next tier down from there.
I don't even look good against 2 bad teams the last 2 weeks. What I hope is not happening is that Sam Darnold is doing what he always does and coming back down to earth, because the Vikings are such a great story this year. They're 8-2. They're going to make it, but I hope that I hope they stay good. I hope they're a threat because I think they're a cool team.
Going back to the AFC though, I mean, Pittsburgh, they do something really, really well, and that is they lock you down defensively, and they do what they need to do from the offensive perspective to be able to get it done. They didn't need a lot from Russell Wilson. They didn't need a lot from the running game because their defense just shut Lamar down. Lamar cannot play against the Steelers. He's never been able to, and he wasn't able to do it yesterday either. And so that's, I think, of course, that's what makes Pittsburgh dangerous, down the stretch. I was waiting. We're about an hour and a half into the show. I've been waiting to hear how you would come out talking about Cincinnati.
One of the most disappointing teams in football. There's no question.
I mean, even though they're 2 games out of the final spot in the AFC playoffs, they're 4-7 at this point on the season. You can't bury him entirely, right? Like, you still have an asterisk.
I can't with Joe Burrow there. No, I can't.
And I think the entire world is like, these guys are done. They're washed. They're dead in the water, And I was wondering how you were going to approach it. And I'm not surprised at all, because I know how you are with the Bengals.
You just know how I am with Joe Burrow, right?
You're still, like, there's got to be life there. And there isn't. There's 7 life there for the
games to play, and they're 2 games back, and they play a head-to-head game with Denver. This is what I told you last night. Like, Burrow is in the stratosphere to me of Allen, of Mahomes, of Lamar Jackson. Am I forgetting anybody in the NFC? I don't think I am. Those 4 guys, I think that's it. Like, until they're out, I would not want to see them in the postseason, just as a general rule. And, they're 4-7, but they play Denver, and they're only 2 games back. Here's, I guess, the way I would wonder it. Because Denver looked really good, obviously, yesterday.
They did.
Anthony Richardson is back in Indianapolis and makes them far more dynamic than Joe Flacco, even though I understand and I don't even disagree with making the move to Flacco temporarily. And Miami, obviously, healthy now with Tua. although they haven't been very impressive in their wins, they are sort of climbing back into it with, getting healthier, and they do have explosive weapons. So of all of those 4 teams, because I think we all consider the other 6 in the AFC certainly dangerous and a contender, do we consider some of those other 4 by that category dangerous, like whichever team happens to get there?
Yeah.
I think you can make a case for all 4 of them, because I think even the Colts, to me, who are the least over, they got Jonathan Taylor back, and man, Anthony Richardson, if you got a cold weather game and you told me the opposition, if it's cold and the weather's nasty, can run Anthony Richardson out there to run around a little bit.
Look, I've been saying this. You gave me such a hard time. What was it, a week ago, for saying that I would rather play Cincinnati in the playoffs than play Denver in Indianapolis?
I haven't changed my mind on that, but I think Indianapolis with Richardson has at least climbed back into a dangerous category.
Denver and Indy looked a lot more dangerous than Cincinnati did this weekend. A lot more dangerous. I think both of them did. And it's especially for like Denver, it's defensively. I mean, it took the Chiefs to block a field goal for the Chiefs to win the game last week against Denver. I'd rather play Cincinnati in the playoffs, because I know, here's the thing with Cincinnati, and this is not a knock. I like Joe Burrow. I think he's a really good quarterback. Jamar Chase is probably the best wide receiver in the game right now outside of Justin Jefferson. It's those 2 guys neck and neck. But I know who I need to shut down if I'm playing Cincinnati. I know exactly how I need to go after it. They don't have an offensive line, so I need to throw the kitchen sink at Joe Burrow. And then, honestly, it's Jamar Chase. And I know T. Higgins is there too, and Higgins had a good game last night against the Chargers, but they don't have anything else. That's what the Bengals have from start to finish.
Well,
that's who they have. And so you know who you need to go after.
I know you're just waiting for me in Cincinnati. You just hate Cincinnati because of a soundbite from Jamar Chase early in the year. Because Tommy, you just said Kansas City had to block a field goal against Denver to win. Kansas City had to get a penalty on a safety to set up a game-winning field goal against Cincinnati.
You're right.
Like you hate Cincinnati. I get it.
That's not what I'm saying. I don't hate Cincinnati. What I hate is the fact that
let's do this.
It could be 2-9, and you'd be like,
let's make a friendly wager right now. Assuming the health of the players, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will bet you, I don't know, what should we bet? That Cincinnati beats Denver when they play late in the year. How about that? We'll make this real simple.
I'll take that bet.
Okay. Where do they even play? I don't know where they play that game. I just know they play that game late.
I'll take that bet.
And we can just have the conversation that way. And we'll figure out some terms.
Here's a better bet, though, because you've said all along that it's Burrow in the playoffs, Burrow in the playoffs, Burrow in the playoffs. Let's make a bet right now. Bengals don't make the playoffs.
Oh, no, they're not. I'm not making that bet because they're probably not making the playoffs.
So why are we talking about how dangerous they are? Because
they're not eliminated.
I understand that, but you were not spending time on these other teams that are like actually legitimate threats because they're going to make the playoffs. I think the Chargers are extremely dangerous. And like,
of course
we spend all this time on a 4-7 team with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
You brought them back up.
I did because you're unwilling to bury them and say they're not getting there. They don't have what it takes to get there. Like, you're still putting an asterisk by their name. Like, it's not like, hey, like they're far enough down. Like, I just don't see a way that they're going to make the playoffs. You're like, well, it's Joe Burrow.
They're 2 games behind in the 7 seed, and they play that game head to head.
Make a bet that they're going to make the playoffs, because I don't think that they will.
I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. I'm saying I don't want to see Joe Burrow in the playoffs. That's all I said.
I don't think you're going to have to worry about seeing Joe Burrow in the playoffs.
That's fine. I don't think that you are either. But if he gets there, I'm not worried about whether I'm trying to look at this from the Chiefs lens of how many, because we went into this year and we thought there would be maybe 2 or 3 teams that would be able to compete with the Chiefs to win a Super Bowl. That number has swelled a ton, because now we're looking at it and it's, it's largely to do with Kansas City for sure. But now we're looking at this and Buffalo, yes. Pittsburgh, yes. Houston, I think maybe Houston. Chargers, yes. Baltimore, yes. Denver, Yes, look at the way they played Kansas City. Indianapolis with Richardson, maybe. Miami healthy, maybe. Cincinnati with Burrow,
no,
maybe. Like I
4-7, no.
So do you consider Miami, threatening at all?
Yeah, I think so.
How many wins do they have?
They've got 5, right?
No, 4.
They've got 4. Yeah.
Yeah. How many does Cincinnati have?
They have 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I think that they're not a team that I'm spending a lot of time on. I'm not spending any time on Cincinnati right now. Like, Cincinnati is so far down my priority list on teams that I'm concerned about in the playoffs for the Chiefs that it's not even top of mind. Like, and it shouldn't be. And going back to your point about
it should not be.
Going back
Pittsburgh
to
should be.
Buffalo should be. Through the lens of the Chiefs, like through the lens of the teams that can beat them in the playoffs, you have to look at it from the lens of who's actually going to be there to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, and that's Buffalo and Pittsburgh and probably Baltimore and Chargers and maybe Denver. Like those are the teams. Like I don't even care about the Bengals anymore. They're 4-7. Don't care about them. I don't care. Like we can hypothetically talk all day long about Joe Burrow in the playoffs. He's got to get there first. And he's not going to.
That will be the case for that 7 seed. The other teams are probably safely in. Houston 6-4. They're not out of the woods with Indianapolis by any means. That's another thing to consider with the Colts because they're only 2 games behind Houston, and we just have to see a game and a half. We got to see Houston start playing better, and they should look fine tonight against the Cowboys. Over in the NFC, Detroit is now the favorite, by the way. How could they not be? The way that they're playing, they do everything well, literally everything well. They're not even well. They do everything great. Philadelphia sort of fits that mold too. We all have our reasons. Yours is the coaching. Mine is I'm not totally sold on their quarterback ever, even though I really like him. I whatever it is. The 3 seed. The 3 seed in the NFC is right now, Tommy. Without looking, I literally just saw this, so I didn't know this either.
The 3 seed in the NFC is probably the Buccaneers.
Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah. So Arizona and Atlanta, because they're leading their garbage divisions, are 3-4. I say garbage division. That's probably not fair to the NFC West. They're just not playing well. But so if you go into the NFC and we look at it, like you can sort of have the same exercise, right? Which of these quarterbacks scares you? Of course, Detroit scares you in every way. Jalen Hurts, I can't categorize him in that same way. If Philadelphia beats you, if you're the Chiefs and Philadelphia beats you, I don't think it's going to be because of Jalen Hurts. For I guess as an example, the NFC has some good teams. They just don't have all the great quarterbacks. San Francisco is 5-5 right now. San Francisco, technically speaking, Tommy, is the 10 seed right now in the NFC. And they got McCaffrey back, right? And they still lose to Seattle. That game was in San Francisco too, wasn't it? So I don't know what to make of the NFC. I guess it's like Lions. We'll see you in February. Yeah. Maybe Philadelphia. If the Lions and Eagles played, I mean, it would be a good game. But man, the Lions and look, I get it. The Lions, we saw them last week, and they didn't, they didn't look amazing when Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions against the Texans. But I would also just tell you that they beat the Texans despite Jared Goff throwing 5 interceptions. Okay, think about that for a second. He threw 5 interceptions, and they didn't just hang around. They won that game. They won that game at Houston on the road.
Yeah.
You want to talk you want to talk about an eye opener?
Hey, look, there's a reason why for the first time this season there's a team other than the Chiefs that are the consensus odds-on favorite for the Super Bowl, and that's the Lions. There's a reason for it because they've been impressive in games where they're not playing well and they find a way to win, and then they just absolutely blow the doors off of the Jaguars yesterday. And I get it. The Jags are not good. Doug Peterson is on his way out in Jacksonville. Mac Jones started the game for Jacksonville yesterday. I get all of that. It's an inferior opponent from top to bottom. But man, it's just impressive that the Lions, they would have won the game either way, but they could have easily played down a little bit more to their competition and not had it been, such a onslaught against Jacksonville. They didn't do that. They laid it on. And that's a statement victory, I think, for Dan Campbell and for the Lions. Like, look, we're going to absolutely keep coming at you and find a way to just continue to lay it on, play after play after play. And that's what they did.
I was just looking at they play the Colts next. Colts. So we didn't factor any of this into our other discussion. I was just looking ahead to the Lions schedule. They play the Colts. Colts also have to play the Broncos. They're going to have to win. Like, they're going to have to come up with some big wins if they're going to make the postseason. That'll be interesting to see. Yeah, it's Detroit or bust, I think, in the NFC. I'll put Philadelphia there just because I think they have so many dadgum playmakers and because their defense is playing better. But another wild and crazy Sunday in the NFL, and nothing changes for we just keep looking at everything from the Chiefs' perspective and trying to size it out that way. And, Buffalo got the opening salvo of that rivalry in 2024. They win the regular season game. Can they win a postseason game and buck history? They usually don't. But I would tell you that on November 18th, I'm probably the most concerned about that game in the postseason than I have been, knowing it could be coming in the last, how many years in a row have they played this? 3 now. I would say that right now the Chiefs had better figure something out. Right. They don't really have that bread and butter offensively that they can lean on. And they got a long time to figure it out and a long cushion to get there. The Chargers, final thought. Are you concerned at all about the Chargers in the AFC West as far as a divisional championship for the Chiefs?
No, I don't think so, because the Chiefs have already beat them once. They already have one head-to-head win against the Chargers this season. So no, I'm not concerned about them in the division. Overall, but I do think that they're an extremely talented team. I think that they're a dangerous playoff team. And I think that Jim Harbaugh has gotten that squad playing extremely well. And so, I think that really the biggest reason why they brought him to LA was to be able to get Justin Herbert into a position to where he can be the superstar that everybody thought he was going to be. And I think he's well on his way. So, overall, yeah, like, they're a threat for sure. But I'm not concerned about them in the division, only because the Chiefs already have a head-to-head win.
Their schedule down the stretch is pretty tough. They host Baltimore Monday Night Football next week. They've got to go to Atlanta. They've got to go to Arrowhead. They get to play Denver at home. They've got Tampa at home, and then they finish with a couple of cupcakes. Yeah, their path is pretty tough with the 2-game lead right now over them.
They'll get a wild card spot, and they could.
They
could make some noise in the playoffs.
They're absolutely a team that is a threat in the postseason. I just mean, should the Chiefs have any concern yet about the West? Probably not yet, even though it's only 2 games. It's really 2.5 games. So we'll watch them. Man, Justin Herbert looks like he's all the way back. Love seeing that. He's so good when he's on, firing missiles last night in that game. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Last full segment of Sports Daily. When we return, don't go away. It's Albrecht and Caster on a Monday.
97.5 and
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch. 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSGW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back into Sports Daily. Real quick, Tommy. Shockers in action tonight, taking on Monmouth. I think we, as we're looking at things to watch for, it's a game that, well, they should come out and score a bunch of points and look right there. 16.5-point favorites. 16.5-point favorites over Monmouth. And sure be not. I don't think I'm going to mess with a line that large or anything like that. I'll look maybe at a player proper too, but it'd be nice if they beat them by 17 points.
Yeah, I know how much you follow Monmouth basketball, so I'm sure that you're an expert when it comes to how that's going to play out.
The 0-4 Monmouth squad. Let's just take a little look here in case we need to. The over-under's at 154.5. That's appetizing to me. But they lost to Michigan State, Temple, Northern Illinois, and Rutgers. Look, Temple, there's you an American Athletic Conference foe, Tommy. They lost to Temple by 29 points. Interesting. I don't know what Temple's supposed to be this year, but maybe we can look at that as a silly, stupid thing to watch tonight. Can you beat them by as many as Temple beat them by?
Does that tickle your fancy then on the spread?
It sure might, because I'm looking. They lost to Michigan State by 24, Temple by 29, Northern Illinois by only 13, and then Rutgers by 17. Rutgers is ranked, by the way. Yeah, I think I'm more inclined to take the over. Again and try to go down that road. All right. That's tonight. You'll hear it right here. We'll tell you what else you'll hear on our family of networks when we wrap up Sports Daily next.
Just because it's 4 o'clock doesn't mean your day's wrapping up. Get the facts first on 12 News at 4. It doesn't matter where you are. In the office, on the road, or on your couch, 12 News is everywhere, bringing you the story as it happens, catching you up on everything you need to know, and giving you your first look at the next 10 days from Storm Team 12. Watch weekdays on KWCH and KSPW. 12 News at 4. Facts first.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
We are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, everybody. We mentioned the Shockers on tonight. You can hear them 5:30. Pregame coverage begins on KEYN. Then you have Texans and Cowboys right here on KFH. That pregame coverage starts at 6:30. So it's a busy night. Tommy, Mondays are always wild and crazy. Love them. A lot to react to. We'll get into some college basketball certainly tomorrow. As we get teams back in action, we'll have Shockers to react to as well.
Should be fun. We'll talk to you then.
Don't forget Dan Israel joins us as well on a Tuesday. For Max Power and Tommy Castor, I'm Jacob Albrecht. We'll see you then.